Hello everyone, welcome to week 14. I know, right? I cannot believe we're at week 14. Now, when you see this video, it may be a bit early because today's Thursday and I thought I needed to do the video early because it's a holiday weekend, and when I sign off today on Thursday, I won't be checking email or doing anything work related until Tuesday morning. I don't know if you all celebrate. Well, I mean, not everybody celebrates Easter, but we do. In my culture, we do. So usually things go quiet from Holy Thursday. We call today Holy Thursday. And I actually forgot. That's what happens when you live outside of your country, right? I actually forgot that we don't normally do things Holy Thursday. So I did have the Zoom call planned for today, but I noticed there wasn't much of an appetite for it because up to yesterday, only one person had indicated an interest. And I get that because I know when it comes to the end of the semester, you guys have so many assignments due, and it's kind of hard to commit to 3 hours or 2 hours on a Zoom call, which is fine. I eventually will do it because I have to do it because, like I said, it is for my channel. So what I decided to do was to just write a detailed step-by-step process for both the report and the oral presentation. So even though we won't be meeting, you're not going to be missing out. So let's talk about where you should be right now. Now, you'll remember that when we met on the Zoom call on Friday, you were supposed to, by then, have done your outline for your report and the outline for your oral presentation. Some people were prepared, some people were not, but we had looked at two people's reports. I think we had looked at Raphael and we had looked at, oh God, I'm so bad with names. Anyway, we had looked at two reports and oral presentation, I think, for Raphael. Now, initially, they were supposed to have been ready on the Thursday, but then I extended it to Friday and then I extended it to Sunday. So I gave feedback to those who posted, and those who didn't post, I said it was okay to not do it because, once again, it's not a requirement. That was just me adding a little bit just to give you a little bit of extra support. But once you got feedback, you should have started your research. I no longer give feedback at this point because at this point, you should have your research started and you should be ready to begin writing. So let me first talk about the oral presentation. Now, as you know, the oral presentation and the report are due on Wednesday, 11:59, April 8th. That's the soft deadline, though. So if you think you need extra time, you have until the Monday, which is the 12th, but that's the hard deadline. And if you don't give it in, then it's going to be too late after that, because that's the last day of the course, and the first marker needs to have it. As it is, I'm hoping that she'll be able to get through if she gets them on the 12th. So as many as possible, I'm going to ask you guys, if you can, try to start handing it in, submitting it on the 8th. Because on Monday, you should have started doing your research, which means you should be writing already. So what I've done is put together a step-by-step guideline for those who are probably, less accustomed to working on your own. Because the thing about writing reports is that you need to have that discipline to do everything that needs to be done step by step. So I've broken it down. So let us first talk about the oral presentation assignment. When you go on Blackboard, when you go to the very bottom of on the left side, you will see the oral presentation assignment link. When you click on it, the first thing you will see is the excuse me guys, the first thing you will see are the details for the oral presentation report. So the first thing it tells you is when the assignment is due, and then all the instructions in terms of the visuals, the research, and where to get extra support from Guffey's Essential of Business Communication, page 349. Now, apart from that, when you go below the assignment guideline, you see step 1 for the oral presentation, which is the speech outline, which was due last week, Friday, or for some people, Sunday. I've given feedback already on that. Now, once you've gotten that feedback, the next thing you are supposed to do is your test. You were to test your speech to see if your speech made sense. Now, in this video, I spoke about testing your speech in general, how people test their speech, and I gave you some examples of speeches that students had done. And then in this video, which I did, I think Monday or Tuesday, I showed you my test. And I used this speech, which you did the reverse engineering for, and I showed you how I did my test. Now, speaking of reverse engineering, I did tell you guys that there was a model, and some of you up to yesterday asked me, how do you do reverse engineering? If you click on the oral presentation assignment link, there are many links below. One of them gives you an example of my failure speech. I showed you an example that a student gave me maybe last semester or the semester before, just in case you still want to know how to do reverse engineering. Because once you do your test, you should be able to develop your speech. But what you can do is look at my example, right? You can look at my outline, my test, and my speech. And then you can watch the speech again. I know you watched it already, but if you watch it again and you pay close attention to the annotations, this will give you more ideas about how to develop your speech, because you have to have the outline, but the outline is the bare bones. Now you have to add movement, and you have to add intonations, and you have to make sure to have all those internal transitions. So you want to be sure that it's not a speech that looks exactly like the outline. The outline is just the guide, and you need to follow the guide. But when you're delivering your speech, you're not going to read, because once you read, it's 50%. Once you read, it doesn't matter what you did, it's 50%. So don't read the speech. And the speech needs to have 2 visuals, and it's a research speech, so we have to hear where you make where you reference and you cite material. Now, you remember in this video, I spoke about how to integrate sources. You're going to integrate sources in your written report, but you're also going to integrate sources in your oral presentation. Same principle. So you're going to make sure that anything you say is backed up with sources. Now, I think I posted this video yesterday. If not yesterday, then the day before. But you remember that in this video, I spoke about the A, the B, and the C speech. So what you're supposed to do now is ensure that you have either an A, a B, or a C speech. Once again, it's entirely up to you. You choose. the grade you want by choosing the topic and the suitability of the topic for the audience. And your audience is this class. So let's say you want to talk about something that only relates to mothers. This would not be the speech to do for this class, because I know I'm a mother and I know there's one other person who's a mother, but the majority of the students in this class are not mothers. So that would not be an appropriate topic. Even if you love it, you have to do something that works for your audience. So once you've done your test and once you're sure that your speech is cohesive and it flows and it has unity, then you are ready to put it together. And you want to also make sure that you watch this video, which talks about standing and delivering. You have no additional summaries to do this week. I think you have only one. I think you only have one or one small assignment. But your focus this week is on preparing your speech, writing your speech, and writing your report. That's all. But I'm no longer giving feedback because I gave all the feedback last week. All the feedback last week, Friday. That video, Friday Zoom call, I gave all the feedback. Of course, if you have questions, please let me know. I've been meeting one-on-one with a few students already. And so if you want to make an appointment to ask questions because, you know, it's too much to be typing it, that's good. You can begin, I can take appointments for Tuesday. So send me an email, we'll figure out a time that works for both of us, and then we can talk. But I'm not reading anybody's reports because what I'm doing now is preparing to mark them. You already have feedback on your speeches and you have feedback on your reports. And when you click on each assignment, you have tons of details, tons of videos. At this point, what you need to be doing is applying what we've been talking about. So the only thing you should be doing now is practicing your speech. Practicing. When you're finished, record yourself, upload it the same way you uploaded your introductions, and also your outlines. It's the outline and the video that is required. So make sure you've done all of that. If you want feedback, hand it in by the 8th. If you don't care for feedback, hand it in on the 12th. But that's the absolutely last day. If you hand it in on the 9th, you still will not get feedback. If you want feedback, hand it in on the 8th. Anything after that will not get feedback. Just so you know. Okay, so that is it for the oral presentation. Feel free though, if you want to rehearse with each other, you can do that. That's entirely up to you, and have fun with it. So once you've finished with your oral presentation, and it's a good idea if you get that out of the way first, because it's the easier assignment and it's a 10% one. It's you know, straightforward. And even if you're not a great presenter, guys, if you are nervous, that's fine. You don't lose marks for those things. You may only lose 1 mark, that's all. But if you have an excellent topic, it's already an A speech. You may lose a half mark for not delivering it well, but it's your appropriateness of your topic that's going to give you the A. So that's more important. And of course, if you read it, even if it's an A speech and you read it, you saw what happened when I read it. Yeah? Cuts off communication. And that's what happens when you read a speech. So you can't read it. Okay? Okay. The next thing now is the research report. Now, you should have uploaded your research report outline from Friday. Some of you didn't. Once again, I know everybody is busy at this time, but you really have to keep up, guys. And you should have started your research. And if you've been keeping up, you should at least have done the body of your report by now. Now, I know some of you haven't, and because I know that, I'm thinking ahead. And what I've done is I've put everything on Blackboard. When you click on the research report assignment, the first thing you will see are the guidelines for the report, which is worth 20%. And I tell you, and remember, Bovee is on Blackboard. On the left side, it says, you'll find a link that says Chapter 11 from Bovee for reports assignment. That's the exact thing that you should follow. Once you follow that, you'll be fine. When I'm done, I'm going to try and also do another video, which might be handy. It might help a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll do that one also. I think I'll do that one for you guys too. Now, once you've done all of that, once you've gotten your feedback or not, because you don't have to get feedback. It's just, once again, a little something I threw in. But once you have your outline, even if you never posted it, it's a good thing to have it because it helps you to kind of figure out, to start the thinking process. When you look at it, it will tell you, what's the problem? What's your core sentence? And you have to have a core sentence because it's all about the core sentence. Okay, guys? The core sentence is going to help you to write a good report. You can't write a good report without a core sentence. You cannot. Okay? Now, once you read the assignment guidelines, I would suggest that you go to what I call step 1. Begin there. Now, everybody should have done step 1. Once you've done step 1, you go to step 2, which is begin your research. And I remind you about this video where we spoke about research, how to ensure that you maintain academic integrity, and then how to integrate your quotes properly. Now, one of these steps was going to talk about how to then write your reference page, but we don't need to do that yet. But when we're talking about research, we're talking about academic integrity and making sure that you cite your sources. We're also talking about in-text citation, which means that when you write or speak, you have the name of the author and you quote them responsibly. And then the third thing we're talking about is end of text citation, which is when you write your reference page. I did suggest using APA, but if MLA works better for you, do MLA. But I'm more comfortable with APA. But guys, do not make it up. Do not say to yourself, I'll just do it like this. No, there's a guide. And this is one of the few times when I will say, Google it. Google it. Google it and find APA, MLA, and follow the guidelines, okay? Now, once you begin your research, your next job is to write. And that's step 3, which is right here also. Step 3, write your report. And I talk about the introduction, the body, and the body is the findings. The body is you explaining to us about the research question, what you found. That's when you're going to be integrating sources, and the 3 categories from your core sentence will fill the body of your report. That's what your report, the report of your body will be talking about, whatever it is that your 3 categories were. And at the end of that, you will write your conclusion and then you'll write your recommendation. That is step 3. Yeah. Now, step 3, I think, takes the longest time. I would say that if you took the better part of a day, you could get step 3 done. So over the long weekend, it's a good idea just to sit down one day, focus on step 3, and you'll be good. Now, once you're done with step 3, you're ready for step 4, which is when you write the summary, the executive summary. You cannot write the executive summary until you finish writing the report. And the rules for the executive summary are on Blackboard. Step 4. Once you've done step 4, it's time for step 5, which is the letter of transmittal or the memo of transmittal, depending on if it's a report for an internal body or an external body. Once again, I have the rules for the letter of transmittal. Step 6, write your reference list. Details are there. Step 7, prepare your table of contents, and I give you the guidelines also for that. Step 8, prepare your list of illustrations, and I also gave you the guidelines for that. Step 9, write your title page, and I gave you the guidelines for that. Step 10, paginate carefully. I gave you the guidelines for that. Step 11, now, you're going to look at your big picture and make sure everything is there. It's like a checklist of all the parts for your report, and I tell you the order that the report must follow. And then step 12, I say the bells and the whistles. Now that's when you have finished your writing and now you're ready to slowly proofread and look for all the things that I talk about in this video. And that's step 12. If you pace yourself, you can be ready for the 8th. You can even be ready for the 10th if you can't get it in for the 8th. But I would suggest you not try to wait for the last day, which is the 12th. Try to get it in before that, guys. It's really not a good idea to wait so late. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a Sunday. So you have a lot to do, okay? But if you follow my step-by-step guide, you're good. You're golden. Trust me. You'll get it done. And one of the reasons I did this is because every year, even when students start from week 10, I get an essay. It's not an essay, it's a report. And for those of you who plan to work in a professional field after, you need to be able to write a report. So it's all laid out here. And I'm going to try and when I'm done, I'm going to do a video on how to choose the right visual, just to make sure everybody knows how to choose the right visuals. And once you do that, you're good. There's nothing else that you need to learn to do. And once you've done this, you can say you've successfully completed Communications 1115. But I needed to finish on time, guys, so you can spend the time proofreading. Because what I have found is that many times students follow the structure, but the grammar needs a lot of work. And as you see, the first marker sees all the mistakes. So once she sees the mistakes, I can't unsee them. So I'm going to ask you guys, spend the time and make sure that your grammar works. So I think I've told you everything. Like I said, I canceled the live call today because there wasn't a lot of appetite for it. I noticed, and like I said, I understand, and I'm going to try and do it next week. But you don't need to worry. You don't need to wait for it because all of this is what I was going to cover. And so since I wasn't going to be covering it, I made sure to include everything on Blackboard. So everything you see there was going to be a part of the first part of the lecture. And we don't need to do that again. Like I said, I will eventually do it, but I'm going to aim for next week. But since I've already done it, I was just trying to, I have to do it, right? I have to do it before my next 11:15 class. So I was trying to coincide it with you guys, but that didn't work out. So you don't need to do it to their report, guys. It's all here. And on top of everything, the report must look like chapter 11 that I have here, pages 298 to 311. So I have the entire PDF here for chapter 11, and chapter 11 covers reports. But apart from chapter 11, which covers reports, pages 298 to 311 have exactly what your report should look like. So once you follow it, you're good. So guys, happy Easter. I know some of you are going to go egg hunting. I'm not going to do it despite. So have a good weekend. Have a good, well, don't take that much of a break, guys, because you have work to do, but whatever, you know. But take a break, you know, unwind, relax, have a glass of wine on me. But remember to watch all of the videos that you haven't watched yet. And some of you have watched the videos, but I'm not seeing the application. And I know you have a lot of other courses doing, so maybe you don't have the time. But believe me, guys, the information, the content is there. You just have to use the content. So, thank you for listening. And remember now, guys, any questions, you email me. But I won't be answering any email until Tuesday morning. So try to not email me over the weekend. Because it's going to seem like, oh my God, when is she going to answer? She's not going to answer on the weekend. So, have a good weekend, guys. And I will talk to you, maybe not in the next video, because this is supposed to be the last video. So thank you for hanging in there, guys. You've been working very hard. And I'm going to encourage you to continue working hard. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.